Hello and welcome to episode 20 of Mouses Makes. Yes, it is episode 20. I thought I'd better just check. I'm again looking a little dishevelled, though I don't look as bad as I did before I ran a brush through my hair. And I'm also recording this a couple of hours later than I normally do because I've been out. I know. I had to take Peter to Taunton, and so I wasn't home at the time I would normally be recording, so we might get an issue with lighting as the sun comes round the side of the building. Hopefully I'll be finished before that happens, but just to warn you, we might have to do something about that later. Anyway, speaking of Peter, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that something very exciting happened just before the weekend. Peter and his fiancée Lauren got married. There were photos on Instagram. I did post some photos on Saturday because they eloped. So I wasn't there, nobody else was there, and it had to be kept a secret until everyone who had to be told had been told. But as soon as I was allowed, I put some photos on Instagram. So you may have seen those. If not, have a look. I'm very proud of them both. They looked stunning, the pair of them. And consequently, they've both got this week off work. They had their honeymoon actually in February 2020, just before we all went into lockdown. They went on honeymoon to Egypt because it was cheaper in February, and they were due to get married at the end of May. And then, of course, we all know why that didn't happen. So, yeah, to save it all having to get cancelled again, they eloped. I think it's marvellous. Anyway, that's that little bit of excitement over. I have finished 2 pairs of socks. I've been trying to clear the decks a little bit, ready for my knit along, my Sockalong that starts next Wednesday. And I am beyond pleased to tell you that I have finished the black cabled socks, which probably to you just look like a black lump. Oh, that's better, look. There we go. They are finally finished, and I managed to get them finished by basically forbidding myself to touch any other knitting until they were done. It took me 2 days. They're done. I'm never knitting completely black socks again. I suppose I could if they were just ordinary stocking stitch, but I'm not. I mean, this was cable and moss stitch, and it's actually a deceptively simple pattern, but you have to be able to see what you're doing in order to read your knitting, to know what you've got to do on the row that you're actually working on. So that's what made them such a chore. They are done. I can get them to my friend for her rally. They're done in plenty of time. So that's that. Obligation now sorted. And I also finished a little pair of shorties for myself. I knit these with what was left over from a ball of, well, I kept the ball band. It's King Cole Zigzag, and it's colour 3167, which, if I remember rightly, is Blossom. But the name isn't actually on the ball band. I think that was just what the person I bought it from was calling this particular colourway. And I made some socks for a friend's daughter last Christmas and had this much left over and a tiny bit which is going into my scrap blanket. It's the first pair of shorties for myself that I've finished. I did start a pair earlier in the year, and I put an afterthought heel on, and I wasn't utterly convinced that the heel was deep enough for the socks not to get pulled off my foot, because obviously it's not got the rest of the leg to help hold them on. So what I did with these was I knit them cuff down, because that's my new thing. I did 6 rows for the little ribbed cuff. Then I went straight into the heel. It's a 64 stitch sock, so ordinarily I would do 32 rows of the heel back slip stitch bit of the heel, but this time, to make sure they were long enough, I did 38 rows, and then did the ordinary heel flap and gusset, and they fit quite nicely. I haven't worn them long enough to see whether they will stay on my feet, but I'm fairly confident that they will, and they very nearly match. Very nearly. I'll show you the back and then the foot. They are so close to matching that I'm not concerned, and I just won't look at the toe, where one toe's got green and the other one hasn't. I'm just not going to look at that. So that'll be my shorty sock recipe, I think, if that works. So that's good. I don't really have any other knitting to show you this week because, to be honest, after all the excitement of Peter getting married, even though I wasn't there, I still got very overexcited. I made myself quite poorly and spent the weekend in bed, most of it asleep actually, with not even enough energy to knit. So there's not a lot of knitting to show you. I did sort out a pattern. Oh, let me show you this. Hang on. Please excuse my bosom. I've got to get a bit too close to you. Actually, let me pause. Hang on. Sorry, I realise nobody needs to look at my chest that closely. The yarn I showed you last week that my husband had got me, I've now taken out the bag so you can see what it's like. So it's got all those lovely sort of greens and pinky reds in there. And I started off knitting a jumper. I think I did this Thursday and I got that far. I've done the rib and, well, I don't know, 4 or 5 rows. And I thought, I'm already bored. It's just plain stocking stitch and I'm already bored. So I had a look through my patterns and I found this. This is a very old pattern. I don't know if you can still get it anymore. It's a Serdar country style pattern, and I know that this yarn, which is Serdar Click, can be substituted for country style DK. So I fished out this pattern because I thought as well I'll get more wear out of a cardigan than I will out of a sweater, because I don't know, I tend to wear cardigans more than I do sweaters, or I wear short sleeve things because you can put something, you can layer up, is where I'm going with that. Anyway, this pattern is a little bit special because my oldest friend, who I've known for about 40 years, her mum, I used to go out with her brother. Her mum and I used to sit and knit together in the evenings, and a couple of years ago her mum died. And my friend doesn't knit. She does weave, but she doesn't knit or crochet or do anything else with yarn. And so she gave me a lot of her mum's patterns and needles and what have you. Some of which I passed on because I didn't need them. But I did keep this pattern and a couple of others because I really liked them. And then I couldn't find it. And before we decorated my craft room in here, there used to be a chair. It was kind of a futon chair that you unfolded, and it was like a foam mattress. So it was kind of the spare bed, if anyone stayed over. And eventually, after about 3 weeks of looking, I discovered this pattern had been stolen and carried under there by the kittens, who were kittens at the time, not the great big galumphing 2-year-olds that they are now. It didn't used to look like that. They've eaten the corner. It's not quite as bad as I anticipated. I don't think I've lost any of the pattern. Fortunately, there is a little bit there that might want sellotaping back on, because if I ever knit the smallest size, I'm going to lose a bit. But yeah, thanks cats. So this is the cardigan that I'm going to knit with this wool from my husband, and I think I'll get a lot more wear out of it as a cardigan. So I just thought I'd tell you that, because that was kind of left hanging last week, wasn't it? Right then, the August giveaway that we all know I kind of messed up the dates of. Today is your last day to enter. You've got until midnight today, which is the, I'm going to check my watch to get it right, 25th of August, midnight British summer time, and I will do the draw tomorrow. And what I'm going to do is at 7 o'clock tomorrow, I'm going to go on Instagram live and do the pardon me, sorry, I've just really guzzled down a sausage roll and a cup of coffee, and I should have chewed a bit more slowly. I'm going to go on Instagram live and do the draw live, but don't panic if you haven't got Instagram or if you're busy and you miss it, because I will contact the winner via their comment. So panic ye not. In order to enter, and I forgot to tell you this last week, all you have to do is comment on any of this August's videos. And the prize is a little sock bag made by myself, mousesmakes thingy on it, wrist strap. It's got an open-ended zip so that you can knit as you walk along with your yarn coming out the gap, and also so that you can fold it down without straining the zip and turn it into a little bucket bag, which is something I like to do with my bags when I'm using them, so it doesn't strain the zip. You've got that little gap there. Also, along with the bag, included in the prize is this sock set. 75/25 superwash merino, 50 grams of the pink, which has got an orangey stripe in it. I don't know if you can, oh yeah, the light's actually quite good today. Perhaps I ought to start doing it later than I have been doing. And a little 25-gram green mini, which again is a slightly variegated yarn, but I don't think you can quite see that as well. This is by Ange Knits, now known as Knit and Pearl Yarns, and this is her In the Garden sock set. So that's your prize for the August giveaway. And now, drum roll please. How many minutes have I done? Oh, not very many. Now I'm going to talk to you about the knit along, which starts next Wednesday. I am still waiting for one of the prizes, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I've written this all down so that I get it right every time, because let's face it, I got the date wrong for the August giveaway. I forgot to tell you how to enter. So I think having it written down is probably the safest way to go about this. Right, Sockalong rules this is. Pay attention, there will be a quiz later. To enter, you must have finished a pair of socks by the closing date. The Sockalong will run from September the 1st to October the 31st. I've extended it a little bit. Each pair of socks completed and entered as a finished object will count as one entry. So you can make as many pairs as you like, but they must be completed by the 31st of August. There will be a chatter thread on Mouses Makes Ravelry group. The thread will be called Sockalong 2021. So that's the thread that you can go on. You can show people what you're making. You can chat with each other, chat with me if I remember to check it. But do not share your finished objects there. The hashtag to share your whips on Instagram will be mousesmakes Sockalong. So just all one word. Mouses, remember to get the S in the middle, makes Sockalong. Again, don't share your finished objects under that hashtag. If you want to enter for the Halloween prize, which is this, there's a little batty bag and 6 minis, yeah, 6 20-gram minis from Little Mouse House. They're called Troll Music, which I thought was very Halloweeny. 75/25 superwash merino, and there are those colours. That's your Halloween prize. Oh, I almost forgot. There is also a little pack of stitch markers, and I haven't wanted to open it because it's so beautifully wrapped, but I have some the same, and this is the stitch marker. I love the way he's flying there. So it's, I think there are 5 little bats. That's the Halloween prize. If this is the prize that you want to enter for, on Ravelry you can put your finished object on the Halloween Sockalong finished objects thread, separate to the Sockalong thread, which is a chatter thread. Don't put your finished object there. Or on Instagram you can use the hashtag HalloweenCal2021. I'll put all this underneath. If you want to enter for the birthday prize, because remember October is my birthday and it's Halloween, which is why there are 2 different prizes. This is the birthday prize. So it's a little koi carp sock-sized bag with a sock set, a high twist sock set, again from Little Mouse House. This is sort of grey to cream. It's called Scented Candles, this sock set, and 2 little minis go with it. And also, I love this. These stitch markers. There's a Jaffa cake, my favourite. Battenberg, another favourite. Little piece of birthday cake, trying to get it to focus. And a Jammy Dodger. Jammy Dodger's are Peter's favourite. So that's the birthday prize. If this is the prize that you'd like to enter for, put your finished objects on the Ravelry thread birthday Sockalong finished objects thread, or on Instagram use the hashtag MMBirthdayCal2021. There will be another prize, and this is what I'm waiting for my favourite pair overall. And I can't tell you or show you what the other part is, but part of it is a mini skein sock set of the Troll Music again. So that's just my own personal, that I will pick from either the Halloween thread or the birthday thread. If I've got a favourite in both threads, then one person will get this, one person will get the other thing. That's the prizes. If you can't use Ravelry or Instagram, then you can just email me your finished objects at mousesmakes@gmail.com. So don't worry if you can't deal with the new Ravelry look, or you can't work Instagram. Don't worry, you can still just email it to me. There's also a Facebook group called Mousesmakes Podcast, but that might not be the best place to put your finished object. Feel free to share what you're making, what you're working on, your yarn choices and what have you, but probably not put your finished objects there unless you make it very clear that that's what it is, in case I miss it. I don't want to miss anything. If you are doing that, or if you are emailing me, make sure you tell me which prize you want to enter for: the Halloween prize, so the bat bag, or the birthday prize, and then I'll make sure that you go into the right draw. The other thing that I'm thinking of doing is, the reason I've called it a Sockalong is that I'm thinking of having a Zoom Sockalong once a week. I don't know how much interest there'll be. Obviously it's difficult because some of you are in different time zones, but what I'm proposing to do is have it at 11 o'clock on a Thursday morning via Zoom, until I see how much interest there is. It will only be a 40-minute, because that's how much you get for free, basically. If there's a lot of interest, then I will pay for the go for as long as you like option and have as many people as you like. And then we might also look at doing a different one that suits people in different time zones. But at the moment, I'm just kind of putting the feelers out to see if there's any interest at all. If you are interested in joining the Sockalong on Zoom, then just email me, or actually email's probably best because then it'll all be in one place. Yeah, email me at mousesmakes@gmail.com and I'll send you the meeting ID and the code that you need to get in. So that will start next Thursday, the 2nd of September. I hope that's the right date. So I'll remind you of that again next Wednesday, which is the day that the knit along actually starts. That was all very complicated. Even though I wrote it down, I managed to make it more complicated than it is on my piece of paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to print this up and try, and if I put it on Instagram with all the hashtags, then it should be there for you to see. I can't think of any other way to do it on Ravelry, or I could put it in the Facebook group. There aren't many of you in the Facebook group though. But I'll put the major details down below so that you've at least got that to see. And I'll go through it again next Wednesday. Probably every Wednesday now till the end of October. You'll get sick of me telling you. That's everything, I think. It is a really short one again this week, with very little knitting content and a lot of waffling about Sockalongs that don't start till next Wednesday. But I thought I'd let you know in plenty of time so that you've got time to have a look at patterns you want to do, think about socks you want to make, look for patterns. There are, if you don't have your own favourite patterns, there are plenty of free patterns on the internet. I think most people though have their own favourite sock patterns. If you haven't, and if you need a bit of guidance in the right direction, let me know. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I'm hoping there will be plenty of entries, because as you know, socks are my favourite thing to knit. I've got about 4 pairs planned. I think if I want to make all the socks I've got planned, I need to do pretty much a pair a week. I don't think we're going to manage that, but you never know. I don't know why. I'm not going to get any prize, so It's wasted effort on my part, really, isn't it? Except that I get the socks, which is a prize in itself. Roll on the colder weather, that's what I say. Chilly toes need nice socks. Right, that is enough waffling, definitely. Hope you're all well. Thank you for coming back every week and listening to my nonsense. And I will see you next week when it will be September. I don't know where the year is going. Children will be back at school probably. Some of you, I think in America, definitely your children are already back at school. Mine don't go to school anymore, so I lose track a little bit. And people will start rabbiting on about how soon it is till Christmas, which I don't want to hear, frankly. Anyway, oh, sorry, that was my fault. I moved my foot. I will see you next week. Happy sock planning. Bye.